Hey guys, welcome back to a video with Linksy. Today we're going to start with a series which is called How to Not Suck at Warhammer 2, and we're going to of course start with Imrik. Imrik is one of the hardest starts in the campaign on legendary difficulty, in general also on the other difficulties due to the situation he finds himself in. If we look where he spawns in the Fortress of Vorag, completely cut off from every other high elf, surrounded by dwarfs which he's at war with, so you cannot even rely on the forces of order to help you out. You also have, of course, the Pig Barter goblins there, there's Clan Eshin, there's Malus Darkblade, there's some lizards, there's Krogar down here, the Court of the Barras. So you're gonna be in a bad position early game. Then you have, of course, Grimgor, who will come down and try to beat you up from the east. So the plan is we kill Clan Eshin by turn 4, then we finish off Pig Barter by turn 8, and then we will see what options we have. Getting started, you need to attack Darkhold. You grab Imrik and you charge straight in at Darkhold. Of course, you put in the mage with him and you send it over there. Over on this side, you start by destroying that building and start building up that to tier 3. When you get at Darkhold, you can auto-resolve this fight. I highly recommend you do not, and I'll show you how to fight this battle in a second. The reason why you do not want to auto-resolve this fight is because you want your army as healthy as possible. So let's jump in and see how you fight this battle. So getting into the first battle, you're going to have a micro-intensive battle. Don't worry too much about it because you're going to get through it if you follow these rules. First, put your infantry over there. Put your frontline troops to the left and put the archers to the right. The reason for that is you're going to be using your cavalry and your dragon to deal with them as much as possible. Your hero, Imrik himself, is going to be cycle charging in along with the dragon princess. Try to get as minimal deaths as possible on the units. We're going to fast forward till we get in position, as we're going to also start using the dragons for dragon breath over there. So those are the longbeards. We ignore the longbeards to the last second, and you start throwing fireballs over there. We want to get them engaged with Imrik as much as possible, and we're gonna shoot over there. The dragon princess need to come over there, and yeah, longbeards over there took a little bit of damage. We're gonna pull out, and Imrik needs to get out before he gets really heavily surrounded, and then he'll lose all of his life. You do not want Imrik in this scenario as much as possible. He will make it out if you keep clicking and turning him around like this. He will wiggle himself out. It's a little trick to wiggle out heroes. Keep moving your dragon as well. You don't want him to take any damage as much as possible. And move it over there. And he is almost... Oh, come on. There's just one dwarf holding you. And there you go. He's out. He is out. Dragon is down there. You shoot over there, and after discharge, you're gonna pull out. Dragon should be able to take on quite a little bit of a beating there, and it will be fine. The idea is constantly keep the dwarves running around, constantly keep them engaged. Do not let the archers shoot at you, and always be shooting fireballs at them as much as possible. Your fire mage, it can take more damage than Imrik and then the others, but try to keep the dragon and Imrik as healthy as possible, as this is going to be your necessary troops. Okay, we didn't manage to cancel that in time. You could cancel that and get infinite fire breaths as well. It's something that can happen. You keep shooting at there. Trying not to lose the dragon princess. Okay, you go down in there. The problem with the dwarves is that they are very, very resistant to magic. So they're going to be able to, you know, take a lot of damage. That said, you should be able to kill them relatively easily. The spearmen are not a problem. The infantry can take a little bit of damage, but try as much as possible to kite wherever. Remember, you have longer legs than the short stunties. Especially on horseback, you're gonna do very well. The Dragon Princess can take quite a lot of damage over there, and the dragon himself is able to tank incredibly long. Okay, go deal with them. You come round and charge into them. You should, yeah, there you go. See, always running away from the stunties till we break them over here. Pull these guys out, they're taking a little bit too much damage. I said go out, and you should be able to do this, and it will be perfection. You go over there, and that is a Longbeard unit that is not going to have fun anymore. You charge into there. They've lost a few Dragon Princes, that's absolutely fine. You go attack that, and you keep running away from the bloody bastard over there, who is going to get a lot of kills in, because he is a Dwarf Lord, and those guys do not die. These guys are so strong. You need to break his entire army before he even starts having any form of issues. There's legit not much you can do. Over here we're starting to take a little bit of damage, but don't worry too much about it. The dragon will help us escape, and we'll be able to cast some more fireballs in a second. Another thing you could do is waste their ammunition as you're going in. It's absolutely possible to do that. Keep running away. Okay, they're dead. It's not necessary in this case, because you want to keep the units moving, and the quarrelers, you kind of want them to give you that little bit of breath of fresh air as they move away to try and shoot at you. As long as they're not shooting at your dragon, you're absolutely fine. Okay, you come shoot to that. Okay, you go here, you go here, and you deal with that. And you deal at him. Now, when you win this fight, you should have taken minimal casualties. If you do it properly, you can even take 0 casualties if you micro it to hell and back. But of course, this is not the situation with my fight, as I lost a little bit of troops. Don't worry though, after you loot and occupy the settlement, you can see pretty much you're gonna have replenishment of all your troops almost to full, and your general and your dragon are gonna be healing. Now what you want to give is Root Marcher for him, and you're gonna get her Fireball and eventually Burning Head after she levels up again. The first thing here you want to do is recruit 3 archers, and you're gonna destroy this building. You're gonna keep the Graves of the Dragons, as it gives you a little bit income and public order, which you're gonna need in this area. You could repair this, but keep in mind money is going to be very, very tight in this campaign. For research, you research military advancement, and now after this, the important thing to do is we need to get to Clan Eshin's Flayed Rock in 2 turns. How are you going to get there in 2 turns? This is placed over here. Essentially, we need to travel the equivalent of 4 turns in 2. To do so, we need to leave the settlement without losing any movement speed over there, and we're going to use the movement cheese block. For those who don't know what the movement cheese block is, I need to get her out, is you put the hero outside of the Lord army, and you move it slightly forward. You move the hero general right behind her, and you do this till you use up all of the movement speed of the hero. This is very, very important, as it helps the army to move incredible speeds in very short periods of time, as it essentially gives you two turns worth of movement in 1. You could do this in a way where you also move the hero up as much as possible, and you could try this. Could keep in mind this can be a little bit difficult due to the fact that heroes actually interact with armies, whereas armies do not interact with heroes. So that makes a big difference. Also keep in mind, terrain like this is a negative impact to your army, so it might cause you to lose movement speed when you do not want to lose movement speed. So either move around it, as I am doing right here, or else move straight to it, but be very, very careful due to the movement glitches that can happen. Now, when this happens, you should also keep in mind the fact that you could theoretically do the same thing with your Lord, where it helps the hero to move behind him, but do not do it. Anyway, with that said, you move all this distance and you barely use any movement speed, and then you come to the edge of your map over here and you start recruiting again. You need to recruit 3 more archers, and this is essentially going to be the army that you're going to use to take out the Skaven. Now, your hero is going to be necessary that you bring forward. You could recruit another turn, and that will give you on turn 3 spend recruiting here as well, but keep in mind you're going to really want to get there as fast as possible, and that's going to be really difficult if you do not. Fortress of Vorag, now you want to build up a Elven Gardens, and you could also build the Elven Gardens in Darkhold, but there's a chance you'll lose Elven Gardens here. So over here you build a homestead instead for growth purposes. This is going to be really useful as it gives you the nobles, and nobles allow you to start farming. Influence, which is very useful for the high elves. With regards to turn 2, this is turn 2. Turn 3 is going to be very simple. You bring your hero up here and you pretty much repeat the movement speed bug as much as possible over here across the river. This is not easy to do, and you're going to lose a little bit of movement, which is absolutely fine. If you do it properly, like I did it here, you lose minimal movement, but it is always going to be lost a little bit. You're going to use the hero to move your general as far forward as possible, and then you're going to go on maximum speed. You're going to go on forced march, and you're going to come as far forward as possible. The reason of this is you are not at war with Clan Eshin, and as far as I've seen, Clan Eshin does not attack you on this turn. I've tested it twice, and they consider you to be pretty much stronger than them, so they're not going to consider attacking you. Alright, now, if they do attack you, their army is quite easily beatable with what you have, even though they will probably ambush you. That is essentially turn 3. You don't really need to build anything else, and so we'll move on to turn 4. For turn 4, you're going to move your hero over here, as you must be aware of the situation. Now, there are one of two things that can happen. The first thing is, what normally happens is that Snake Edge would have lost a fight with the goblins, and he would be hiding in the Flayed Rock, where he'd be recruiting an army. If that is the case, you proceed at the same strategy that you're going to proceed with the other one, which is what happened now, where he went and resettled Haunted Forest, meaning that if we look at the balance of power, they're much weaker than us, even though they recruited over the end turn, and that's going to be a problem for them. However, either case, you're going to go to options, campaign settings, and put the battle timer to 40 minutes, and that is going to be very important. The reason why we moved up so close is because we want that battle timer to be as short as possible. We're going to move up to the settlement, and we're going to declare war. There's going to be always an army inside there, and it's always going to be quite difficult to beat this fight. We're going to declare war, and we're going to siege. If we look at the balance of power, we're not meant to win this, but since we put the battle timer so low, we'll be able to do multiple attacks this turn. And it is important that we take it out to a draw, and it is very important that there is an army outside, because the army outside will allow you a third fight in this situation, if not a fourth fight. So with that said, let's jump into the fight. When it comes to the siege, prepare yourself for a grind and a half. You're going to place your units in this formation, start the battle, press Alt, move them all forward like this. Press and hold Alt when you're doing this movement forward. You're going to keep Imrik and the Dragon Knights patrolling the rear. You're going to get Manus Belows, you're going to deal with the Manus Belows, and then we're going to deal with all of their missile and other infantry. A trick for Manus Belows is that, one, it needs to be 45 seconds in, so you're going to know in the next 5 seconds they're going to trigger it, and two, you're going to see a circle of where it is going to trigger. In this scenario, and any moment now they're going to trigger it, and it's triggered over there. Move your units back and send in the infantry forward. you're gonna send the infantry forward and you're gonna attack. Not with you guys go melee and stop and run back. Now, it would be absolutely wrong if you do this and they have War Bomb. Thankfully, they do not have yet War Bomb. And the rats are trying to escape. Hopefully they escape in the right direction and get out of the map as soon as possible. Because once they do, it's almost impossible for them to damage you further. You need to instantly break their morale as fast as possible using the terror from the dragon and all the other possible tools you have. Keep in mind they have arrow towers and you cannot break them, but you want to be able to break this. Perfect, they summon their second one over here. You're going to keep these guys moving back. You're going to keep doing this till they are out of under Menace Belows, which shouldn't take that long. Okay, so we've pretty much taken out the Menace Belows. Now it's time for us to start wiping out the enemy army. Put your archers in formations of 2, like this. And get your dragon in position. Keep in mind that they have this lad who is a Warlock Engineer, meaning he has Warp Lightning. Warp Lightning is going to hurt units, so to waste his Warp Lightning you're going to use the White Lines of Trace in this formation to try, I said this formation please, thank you, to try and get them to waste as much as possible. This is also a situation where we can use the Dragon Breath. Now, you could try and do the Dragon Breath cheese. This is very unreliable and very difficult to obtain, but what you essentially need to do is cast this out of range. Dragon will move into range in the last second during the animation, cancel it, then always cast it out of range and you should be able to cast infinite dragon breaths with your dragon. And come on, you need to cast it just as they're about to do the animation. No, that didn't work. That was a really shitty one. I still got 50 kills somehow. Oh no, he got kills from the other side. That's fine. Then you bring your archers up this way, you guys this way, and you start shooting at the... Wait, all of you. Do that and start shooting over there at the various units on the map. That was a really bad Dragon Breath. Dragon, you should be ashamed of yourself. Try to start trimming down the units, and essentially this is the rest of the siege till the timer runs out. I'll show you how you retreat and you attack again as the siege timer runs out, and you'll be able to do this multiple times in the same turn, because we moved literally, we were just on top of the army over there. You're gonna shoot as much as possible and kill all the units you can. With that said, I'll jump to the end of the battle, and you're gonna want to click back on Flayed Rock. As you can see, the balance of power is vastly in your favor now, but you're going to break siege. And because we were so close to this the siege, we're gonna be able to do this again and again and again. Now, you could auto-resolve this, however I highly recommend you do not, as it will cost you a lot of damage on your army, and you want as much as possible to do as high amount of damage as possible. Now, to do this, you just simply fight again in the same style that we fought before. I will not pass you throughout the entire fight as last time, but just keep in mind that you need to also be aware of the Menace Belows coming back. They're going to be the same amount as before. In this case we had 2, so we're going to have 2 again. Keep in mind that if by some reason there is a higher amount of Skaven corruption, you will get more. Anyway, you simply do the same thing as before, move the archers up, turn off fire at will, and slowly whittle the enemy away. Well, while I do that, I will, of course, not film it again, because it will get boring, and I'll get back to you after the battle is either won or drawn again, if I notice I cannot kill them without taking losses. You do not want to take any losses in this fight. So, no, let's wait. After a couple of battles, in this case 2, if there is sneakage in here, you're going to need at least 3 fights. But as you can see, we took barely any losses in each of the fights we did. We just damaged our Sun Dragon a little bit, and that's because I just was doing it fast. And I used him to kill the assassins, which do a lot of damage in general. The only thing that's still alive is this Warlock Master, but that should not be an issue. You're gonna, of course, either loot and occupy or occupy. It's up to you. In this case, I have a decent amount of money. I don't necessarily need to loot and occupy, as it will cause a rebellion, but I also, at the same time, know that money is going to be very important in this campaign. And plus, since we're going to be capturing all the other settlements, we want to loot and occupy. So you want to repair that, and you want to build a homestead. You need as much growth as possible in this scenario. He should not be able to leave this area easily, and you have a mage over here, which will help you get to the haunted forest next time and deal with the Death Master. Now you want to get this, you want to get the Dragon Horn. That causes fear. You're going to use it to scatter the enemies that you're going to be fighting next. For this turn, this is essentially all you need to do. You could upgrade the manor up, but keep in mind the dwarves are coming and they're going to bring an army to fight you. They have a military presence, they're building up their forces, and it's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with. That said, we can now move to turn 5. As soon as you start turn 5, you're going to go back to the Fortress of Varag and you're going to start building stone walls. They might or might not be done in time to stop the rebellion. A way to do that is to stop the taxing of the province. That is 500 gold that you're going to need, but you're going to want to slow that down as much as possible, giving yourself the time you need to build the stone walls. The enemy is going to come there whether you like it or not. Over here, we're going to move the mage just slightly back. We wanted the mage as far forward as possible to know exactly where the enemy is. We're going to move the mage back just around here, and we're going to then move Imrik up to the mage. You could have recruited more troops over here. I did not, simply for financial reasons. But if you feel that this next fight is a bit too difficult for you, feel free to recruit some troops. The reason you're going to use the movement cheese over here is otherwise you will not be able to make it, and you kind of want to wipe out Clan Eshin this turn before they become ridiculously strong. Seems they've bugged us out by moving their hero over there. And we make it. In this case, I would highly recommend you auto-resolve this fight. You could switch out Imrik for another hero, but another lord, so you don't get the Death Master's trait, as that is an absolutely horrendous trait. But at the same time, you want Imrik to level up as much as possible. The reason why I recommend auto-resolving this fight is that this will be quite a difficult fight to do in general, and you're going to stand to lose less troops this way. Keep in mind your army is relatively weak compared to theirs. The main reason that you have such a high auto-resolve chance is due to the Dragon Princess and the Sun Dragon doing very well on auto-resolve. At this point, you just occupy, and this is the end of Clan Eshin. By turn 5, you should be in a very good place. Replenishment is going to be quite high, so don't worry too much about it. You want to either give him Wary in next, or else Merchant Lord. In this case, I believe Wary is more important, as you're going to need to be very careful of enemy ambushes in this region due to the volume of Skaven and Orcs that do like to stay in ambush. Now you will want to recruit 3 more archers over there and embed the mage in with the army. You could have embedded the mage in as well before the fight. I assume that's a mistake from my part over there. Now we recruited 3 archers over there. Next target is going to be dealing with the orcs over there, and hopefully by turn 10 we have Pig Barter and Scattered Cove in our clasp. Now at this point we're also going to see if we can do any form of trade or relationship with any of the other factions. They still hate us. They hate us a lot. I don't know why they hate us so much, but dwarves hold grudges for a long time. That said, now we move on to turn 6. Point, the Skaven would have attacked you over the end turn, and they will attack again over the end turn over here. You could stay and recover a little bit more, as it would give you the opportunity to deal with these guys faster, but you could also just move forward and start killing the start recruiting on the way, and you still will be able to replenish just enough. Keep in mind, you could use the movement cheese again over in this place to actually get to the edge, but they might declare war on you, and it's not usually advisable. They're still slightly weaker than you, so use that to your advantage. Recruit 3 more archers. You could recruit archers with light armor, but the cost is not worth the difference, and you could just simply demolish this. If you were worried that this is going to take your settlement, simply recruit another lord, in this case a prince or I don't know, princess. Is there anyone? Yeah, there you go. It's gonna cost you a little bit, but you will be able to defend against that very effectively, and you don't stand to lose the haunted forest whatsoever. Clan Eshin is essentially dead right now. This one is still not repaired. That's absolutely fine. You're gonna just move on to the next turn. Militia training. Research at this point is very similar to the normal strategy. And we'll move on to turn 7. Turn 7 is going to be an important turn. First, you disband this lord to try and get any semblance of money back. Of course, as you can see, Clan Eshin attacked us and got destroyed over the end turn over there. It's an auto-resolvable fight, not much of an issue. Come back over here and tax the province, because you are now gotten a rebellion, and you're gonna move to the limits over here. Now, this scenario, you should move as fast as possible. You cannot give the opportunity of the AI to recruit units, and in this scenario they will recruit a lot, so bring your mage out and start moving forward. You should be able to get to Pig Barter and take it this turn with very few losses in this scenario. This is an auto-resolvable fight, and you kind of want to auto-resolve it to increase the chance that this army is wiped out completely over there. You lose a few, it's not a big problem. And you've captured Pig Barter. Pig Barter will fix itself, don't worry too much about it. There will be a rebellion at Flayed Rock, but you'll have to go back and clean it up. At this point also, it's a good time to recruit a noble. In this case, we have some decent nobles over here that we could recruit. Consolatory and prudent. Let's go consolatory. And you're gonna bring him around and start farming influence from the dwarfs over there. The reason you recruit the noble now is that you need to make sure they have enough money to do the other stuff before, and it's always good to have a little bit of extra money rather than be under. You want to upgrade Wary over there, and you're going to get the mage over here. We need to get to Shattered Cove next turn. The rebellions are going to be your main problem after this fight is done, but as you can see, we have most, if not all, of the situation under control. There is an army growing at Mount Gahag. That's going to be an issue. Don't worry too much. It's not going to be an issue. Don't worry too much about it. You're going to lose Darkhold, and that's absolutely fine. But then you will bring back Imrik and deal with that as soon as you're done with settling this region. Once you have a rebellion, it's going to be very easy to control over here. You could also, if you want, since you have the money at this scenario, if you have the money, sometimes you might not have this much, could do an invocation with Isha. It does help increase the untainted and untainted in the province, meaning this will go down quite heavily even further, and all of this army will heal much faster. That said, let's jump into the next turn. We know where the enemy is because they have two armies. It seems they have two armies over here, an army over here and an army over here where they're raiding. Seems they were moving out of their homeland. That's absolutely fine. Pig Barter will probably get lost, and that's something we can live with. For now, we shall do our best to try and take their settlement at Shattered Cove over there, by doing as much damage as possible. Now, the movement speed bug is imperative through the forests over here, as this forest is just an absolute nightmare for Imrik. The main reason it's an absolute nightmare is that the AI, with regards to Skaven and regards to the goblins, can move in the understands, meaning that they do not need to worry about the movement speed reduction of the forests. In this case, you do. So you get to the Shattered Cove in one turn. Again, another auto-resolvable battle, not much of an issue, and you're just gonna occupy this time. You don't want to destroy or damage the docks, as they are a source of growth and a source of money. Imrik, he's level 7 now. You're gonna give him anything you want, honestly speaking. You could go down the Bowmaster, but you kind of want Lightning Strike as far as possible, as fast as possible. So in this case, in my opinion, it's best with Iron Similitarian, since you're not gonna be trading that much early on. Army's gonna be at full strength, and you're gonna have the mage to allow you to get back to Pig Barter, which I'm assuming is where they're going to attack. They can go for the Haunted Forest, they can go for Flayed Rock, they'll go for whatever region they deem is the easiest, and that's understandable since they have now no settlements. If you look in the diplomacy, where are they? Red Cloud don't have any settlements, but they do have at least an army, which is almost as strong as Imrik's. Over here, this guy, it will attack, but you should be able to hold, as this is going to be a very strong defense garrison. You have a Sun Dragon, have a lot of archers, you have spearmen, you have White Lines for Chase, and a noble. Darkhold will not hold on its own, even though you have a dragon and a dragon princess, as the dwarves have a lot of troops coming in. They have an army over there, and as you can see, they have an army growing here. You're going to use the noble as a scouting tool, as well as farming influence with regards to Ashridge Mountains. Now, we need to start preparing for the first dragon encounter, which is Imrik's special faction mechanic. And to do so, we need to stabilize our first region, as we said, Flayed Rock. This is the end turn. Put in the, of course, do not forget to put in Building Lost Splendor as your commandment, and then just end turn. You have damaged buildings, but just ignore them for now. You can, it's very clearly, it can be seen, we have the goblins come over here. We're gonna go kill them straight away. We're gonna do so by using Imrik and running all the way here, and then we're gonna manage to come and kill them by coming out from there and wiping them out. They're gonna be simple goblins, so it should be quite a straightforward fight. Now, doing so, it is the same trick we've been using till now. We're gonna use the movement cheese bug, as this region is uncomfortable. You're gonna attack this and fight this. This auto-resolvable. They don't really have any troops. You could fight it manually as well and kill all these troops. I'm just gonna skip directly to the end of this fight.